Hi guys, it's Aaron
and Anne from BestPrice Travel.
We are super excited because we are in Hanoi. This city is full of history, culture, and of course the best food in the world.
And right now we're going on an epic city tour, hitting on some of the most iconic spots in Hanoi, and of course explore some local street food. I don't know exactly what we'll find, but that's part of the fun, right?
So stick around, hit the like button, and let's explore Hanoi together.
Okay, so we're at our first destination for today, which is Quoc Pagoda.
That is the oldest pagoda in Hanoi with the history of over 1,500 years.
As you can see, the pagoda lies on a small island on the West Lake. So let's get inside and see what this pagoda is all about. Quoc Pagoda, built in 541 AD during King Lý Nam Đi's reign, was originally called Quoc Pagoda, meaning founding the nation. Its name was later changed to Quoc, symbolizing hope for peace and protection from natural disasters. Entering the pagoda, you are greeted by the 11-story stupa with 6 doorways on each level, housing Buddha statues that symbolize enlightenment. Unfortunately, it was under maintenance during our visit, but even from afar, it was stunning. This is the front house, where you can see a lot of Buddha statues made of wood with glossy golden paint. Walking further inside, you can see the upper house. People come here and burn incense to pray for good luck and health. In front of it is the Bodhi tree. It was a gift from India's former president, Rajendra Prasad, to Vietnam in 1959. Don't miss the chance to stand in the shade of this sacred tree and be entranced by an aura of tranquility. The steel house right next to the upper house is engraved with poems of famous scholars at that time. Thanks to this information, the next generation can get a better understanding of Quoc Pagoda's history from the very first day. Now let's get to our second destination. After visiting Quoc Pagoda, we rushed to the train street, sprinting to catch the passing train. It was weird going from peaceful to running like crazy, but seeing the train made it all worth it. So right now we're going to a hidden cafe on the train street. Have you seen the train going by?
Yeah, it was awesome. Like the first time I see the train that close. I have lived in Hanoi for about 20 years, but I have never experienced that before.
The railway tracks were built by the French during the occupation of Vietnam in the late 19th century. Over time, the city expanded and the tracks remained in the same location, surrounded by a local household, and then became a famous tourist attraction. Here, you can take advantage of the time before and after the train passes to capture beautiful photos along the train street or walking on the train tracks. According to our tour guide, egg coffee is a must-try when you visit the train street. So, of course, we had to try it. Okay, now let's try it. Very strong flavor. The egg adds a creamy flavor to the coffee, which is a very great combination.
Hi, you saw the trains passing by, and what do you think about that experience?
Yeah, that was interesting. It's very close by. Yeah, I'm not too sure. It's quite interesting that it's very close and yet it doesn't hurt anyone.
Yeah, it's
My mom was annoyed by the motorcycles passing by though.
Yeah,
But she is also quite interested in knowing how did the motorcycles get here.
Yeah, because motorcycle is like very common vehicle in Vietnam.
Yeah.
And especially in a small alley like this, they like go back and forth very often.
Sitting and enjoying egg coffee while watching the train street is a one-of-a-kind experience.
Okay, so we finally made it to one of the most iconic spots in Hanoi, which is the Temple of Literature.
It is not simply a temple, it is the first University of Vietnam symbol for the Vietnam intelligence.
Okay, so let's get inside and see what's going on.
The complex is divided into 5 courtyards, each with its own function and symbolism.
So the temple was built in 1070s and it was dedicated to Confucius, a great philosopher. And that's why at the first time it was named Văn Miếu, which means the Temple of Literature.
Then later on, in 1076, Emperor Lý Nhân Tông expanded the site and built the Imperial Academy, which is called Quoc Tử Giám.
We are walking through the Đại Trung Môn Gate, which was only for kings and mandarins.
Right now we are entering the second courtyard, which is called the Courtyard of Great Success. Also known as Quoc Pavilion. It was chosen as the symbol of Hanoi in 2012.
The round window of this building, looking out on the 4 sides, represent the Huê star, which is the very bright constellation in the sky. Huê star in Vietnamese culture is also a symbol of literature and intelligence. This is Thiên Quang Well, a square well located in the center of the garden. The square well represents the ground, and Huê Văn Các, reflecting on the surface of the water, represent the sky. This is the place where heaven and earth converges, a worthy place to train the country's talents. To the sides of the well, there are lines of doctor steels. The steels are engraved with the names and homelands of 1,304 doctors of 82 royal examinations held from 1442 to 1779. Each of these steels rests on the back of a turtle. This is one of the 4 holy creatures in Vietnam culture. Represents longevity and everlasting life. Passing through Đại Thành Gate, we are getting inside the 4th courtyard. This is Đại Bái Yard, where students come to pray and ask for the blessing of the ancestors for good score and success. Behind the yard is the upper house, where Confucius and his 4 closest disciples are worshipped.
On Tet holiday, Vietnamese people usually come here to ask for calligraphic words, which is a traditional activity on Lunar New Year's. Some common given words are nhẫn, which means patience, học, which means to study, and đăng khoa, which means to pass the exam.
The right side of the yard is an exhibition area, where students' clothing, school supplies, and calligraphy paintings are displayed. We have entered the last courtyard of the complex. The fifth courtyard is the Imperial Academy. 2 blocks on the sides are the lecture hall, library, and dormitory for students. The largest hall in the middle is now a place for exhibitions related to Vietnamese culture. The Imperial Academy is not used for teaching anymore, but to worship Chu Van An and the Three Kings. Chu Van An was a great teacher, physician, and Mandarin in the history of Vietnam. You can also learn about the history of the Academy through the artifacts and interactive screens. On the second floor, there are shrines of the Three Kings who contributed to the construction of the complex. If you walk out on the right small gate of the fifth courtyard, there's a small souvenir shop with many cute Vietnamese items for friends and family.
Okay, we have arrived at the final destination, which is Ho Chi Minh Mausoleum.
Sunlight shining through. Ho Chi Minh Mausoleum, located at the exact spot of the original grandstand where President Ho Chi Minh read the Declaration of Independence in 1945. This is the place to honor the momentous occasion and the leader's important role in Vietnam's independence movement. According to his will, Ho Chi Minh wished to be cremated and have his ashes placed in 3 regions of the country after his passing. However, the government at that time believed it was important to preserve his body for the future generations so they could come to pay their respects and express their deep affection for him. Now let's walk to the one-pillar pagoda, which is right behind the mausoleum. The pagoda was originally built in 1049 by Emperor Lý Thái Tông to worship Quan Âm, which is the goddess of mercy. The pagoda is supported by a single stone pillar, resembling a lotus blossom, symbolizing purity. The current structure is actually a reconstruction after the original was destroyed in 1954. There are stalls and vending machines right next to the pagoda, so it's pretty convenient for tourists. And that wraps up our 3-hour journey discovering the beautiful and traditional Hanoi. Many thanks to BestPrice Travel, one of the best travel agencies in Vietnam, for supporting this adventure. If you want to make your plan easier, kindly check out the link below in the description box. In the next video, we'll be diving into Hanoi's most famous dishes, so don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for part 2.